5 months after my husband passed away, I finally opened his car glove box and found a letter and a photo that shattered everything I thought I knew about him. It revealed a secret life he'd hidden from me, changing how I saw our entire marriage. What I discovered forced me to face the truth and decide what to do next. Let me start from the beginning. It was supposed to be nothing more than a quick, straightforward sale, just handing over the keys and moving on. 5 months had dragged by since it all happened, long enough. People kept telling me to heal, to let go, to finally take a deep breath without feeling the pain. His car had been sitting in my garage all this time, almost like a shrine I couldn't bring myself to touch. It still carried his scent, soft vanilla mixed with that faint artificial note from the cologne he always wore. When I finally opened the driver's door, I did it slowly, like stepping into some sacred place. Or maybe a tomb. Inside, the air felt still and heavy. Dust had gathered on the dashboard, the silence pressing in, but it wasn't a peaceful kind of quiet. I started cleaning in my usual, methodical way, wiping down the console, dusting the dashboard, vacuuming the floor mats. When I popped open the glove box, it gave a little click, and that's when the first crack appeared in the calm I'd been holding onto. Inside was an envelope, thick and a bit worn at the edges, with my name written across the front in his careful, slanted handwriting. My stomach twisted. He'd never been the type to write letters. He hated anything that felt like a goodbye. My hands trembled for just a second before I studied them and tore it open. Inside was a photograph, and tucked behind it, a hotel receipt, 3 nights at a beachfront resort, with a man's name I didn't know, but instantly recognized. I'd seen him once before, standing at the very back of the church during my husband's funeral, tears streaming down his face harder than mine. I sat there in the car for what must have been an hour, staring at that photo. It wasn't posed, no fake smiles or staged angles. My husband had his head resting on that man's shoulder, and that man's hand rested casually on his thigh. The way they were smiling, it wasn't just happiness, it was comfort, familiarity, like this wasn't their first time together. The receipt was dated 3 months before he died, 3 months before the accident. He told me he was going on a retreat, said he needed some space. And I, like a fool, gave it to him. But instead of anger, something colder settled in me, like ice seeping under my skin. His messages from that week had been oddly formal, just a little too polite, but I'd brushed it off at the time, thinking he was stressed. Now, rereading them, every single word felt like a lie. I typed the man's name into a search bar and found him easily, no wedding ring in any picture, but on the day my husband died, he posted a tribute, Forever M. No last name, no tags, but I didn't need them. My husband had been close to this man in ways I didn't know, while I was waiting for him to come home. I didn't confront him or anyone right away. Instead, I started studying my husband's life like it was a crime scene, digging into old emails, private folders, archived chats. He'd been good at hiding things, but not perfect. I found small clues, a spare hotel key in his coat, a lipstick color unfamiliar to me, and a playlist with songs I hadn't heard before. I played it through, 3 hours of someone else's memories filling my head. Then came more photos, still buried in his cloud backup. There were pictures of them close together, sharing moments and smiles I hadn't seen from my husband in a long time. I even went to that hotel, just to see it. The receptionist remembered them instantly, and when she smiled and said, "I hope your husband comes back soon," thinking I was the man in the photos, I didn't correct her. The truth felt too heavy to bother with. Eventually, I hired a private investigator, not out of anger, but because I wanted the full picture. The report detailed a long history with dates and names, covering several years. And it wasn't just that man. There was another. They'd been friends. My husband had been living a whole secret life right alongside me. When I finished reading, I didn't cry or yell. I just waited. I mailed the man from the photo a copy of the report with a note that read, "He told us both we were the only one." He wrote back 3 days later, "I didn't know. I'm sorry." I never replied. I wasn't looking for an apology, I just wanted him to live with the truth. 5 months after my husband died, his sister invited me to a memorial dinner, friends, family, shared stories. I cleaned up, shaved my face, or groomed myself, smiled at the right moments. They all looked at me like I was still the grieving, faithful wife. I waited until dessert, until the chatter died down, then stood up and said, "I found something." I pulled the photo from my pocket and held it high enough for the whole table to see. The room froze, his mom gasped, his sister turned away. I walked over to the man who had just given his speech about his loyalty and slid the picture in front of him. "No more lies," I said, quiet but clear. Then I left. Behind me, voices broke out, chairs scraped the floor, but I never looked back. The next day, I sold the car without even wiping down the passenger seat. The buyer said it was in great shape, and I just nodded. He didn't need to know the truth. As I walked home, I caught my reflection in a shop window. I didn't see myself as broken or defeated. I saw someone who accepted the truth and was ready to move on. He hid the love I gave him away, so I let go too, with just a photo and quiet acceptance. And you know what? I sleep just fine most nights.